If you sit down to study and 15 minutes later, your brain feels like a web browser with 100 tabs open, stop. You aren't bad at focusing. You are violating a biological limit of your brain called cognitive load theory. At that moment, most students draw the same conclusion. I must be burned out. Or worse, I'm just bad at focusing. That explanation feels personal and discouraging, and more importantly, it's wrong. What's actually happening has very little to do with motivation, discipline, or laziness. You're running into a basic limitation on how the brain processes information. In educational psychology, this is explained by something called cognitive load theory. Once you understand it, the problem stops feeling like a character flaw and starts feeling like a design issue. And design issues are fixable. The simplest way to understand cognitive load theory is to imagine your brain as a cup. That cup represents your working memory, the limited mental space you use to think, learn, and problem solve in real time. Everything you're trying to process gets poured into that cup. Some of that water has to be there, and some of it absolutely does not. Part of what belongs in the cup is the difficulty of the material itself. This is called intrinsic load. Calculus takes up more space than basic arithmetic. Organic chemistry takes up more space than a vocabulary quiz. You can't remove intrinsic load. Hard subjects are just hard, and that's normal. What doesn't belong in the cup is extraneous load. That is everything that gets added on top of the material, but doesn't actually help you learn. Messy notes, poor formatting, the 10 browser tabs you have open, phone notifications, trying to multitask while studying. None of that improves understanding. It just puts more in the cup. Here's where things break down. When intrinsic load plus extraneous load exceed the capacity of the cup, the water spills over. That overflow feels like mental fatigue, anxiety, frustration, and avoidance. It feels like burnout, but it's not. It's cognitive overload. Your system is inefficient, not your brain. At this point, some students say, okay, but my cup just feels too small. And in one sense, they're right. Working memory is limited. Most research suggests you can only actively hold about 4 to 5 chunks of information at a time. That number doesn't really change. But here's the part most students never learn. You don't add more to the cup by increasing the number of chunks. You add more by making the chunks bigger. A chunk isn't a single fact, it's a meaningful unit. And the size of the unit depends on how well information is organized in your brain. This is where schemas come in. For a beginner, a biology pathway might feel like 10 disconnected steps, each competing for space in the cup. For someone who understands the system, the same pathway becomes one chunk, one idea, one slot. Think of it like trying to memorize a phone number. If you read the number as one long string, it is hard to memorize. It is 10 chunks of information. But when you break it into the standard number format of a chunk of 3, another chunk of 3, followed by a chunk of 4, now you only have 3 chunks to memorize. Nothing magical happened to your working memory. You didn't get smarter, but by compressing the information, you were able to hold more information in your cup. This is why experts appear to hold more in their heads than novices. They're not juggling more pieces, they're juggling fewer, larger ones. When you rewrite notes into organized frameworks, when you compare ideas, when you explain concepts in your own words, when you practice retrieval instead of rereading, you're not just studying, you're building schemas. You're growing the size of your chunks. So the solution isn't to fight your brain's limits. It's to work with them. You reduce what doesn't belong in the cup, and you deliberately organize what does. One of the fastest ways to reduce extraneous load is environmental. For example, research shows that the mere presence of your phone drains cognitive capacity because your brain is subconsciously monitoring it. That background monitoring uses working memory, which means your cup is partially full before you even begin. Putting it on silent doesn't work. It must be visually removed from your environment. Whenever possible, I put my phone in a different room when I'm working. If I can't do that, I put it in my bag. The second lever is your materials, especially your notes. Messy notes are not neutral. They actively drain mental energy. When information is disorganized, your brain has to search for structure, infer relationships, and hold too many disconnected pieces of information at once. Clean structure reduces mental drag. This is why rewriting notes isn't about being neat or aesthetic. It's about turning scattered information into schemas your brain can use efficiently. You build study guides, not rewrite notes. The third lever is task design. Multitasking feels productive, but cognitively, it's one of the fastest ways to overload your working memory. Your brain doesn't do multiple things at once. It switches rapidly between tasks, and every switch comes with a cost. Single tasking isn't about discipline, it's about removing unnecessary decisions so your brain can stay oriented on one goal. This is the reframe I want you to walk away with. If you struggle to focus, you are not lazy. You are not broken. You are overloaded. And overloaded systems don't need more pressure, they need better design. And that better design goes beyond your immediate study session. It includes having an actual time management system, an actual study system. A system is something you can describe. It has structure, it has repeatable steps. It tells you what to do when you sit down to work and how to respond when things go off track. If you can't explain clearly how you manage your time or how you study from the first exposure to the exam day, then you don't have a system. You're improvising, and improvisation quietly fills the cup. Reducing load in the moment is powerful, but the biggest win comes from preventing overload before it starts. With actual systems, a well-designed time management system reduces decision fatigue. A well-designed study system reduces cognitive load. Together, they create the conditions where focus becomes possible instead of feeling forced. Building those systems isn't part of this video, but it is exactly what this channel covers. If this was helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. In the comments, tell me one thing you're going to do to reduce your cognitive load this week. We talked about chunking earlier. That is the only way to make your cup bigger. If you want to know the exact technique to do that, click this video on schema building right now. It's the missing half of this equation. I'm Dr. Erik Albinson, a professional learning performance coach. You got this.